I don't really know a great way to start. I don't know a really good way to phrase this. I've been asked over on Twitter, Jim, thank you for the tweet, saying, how do I feel about this news? Like, Google shut down its internal studios. And I feel very conflicted. And that's basically the nature of how my brain works in these situations. Thanks, guys, for by the way. If you hang out for this video, thank you. I think this is a really important conversation to have, because if you've been a part of this Ginger Prime channel for any point in time, and you've been a part of the Soul Nation, I really appreciate you. You've seen me talk about cloud gaming, and Google Stadia has actually been an important part of that, being able to play my games on any screen, to the point where the thing they lack the most out of all of it is a showpiece, a game that can only be done in the cloud. Everything else is pretty much the only value that it actually brought this holiday was to be able to play Cyberpunk 2077 without the need to be able to find or spend crazy money on a console that you couldn't find, or to have a PC that was built to run that game. Anyway, so Google has shut down its first-party studios, and there's a conflict that I have overall. And it comes down to a, hopefully not misplaced, but an idealistic view of gaming and the world of gaming as it could be. And this is where, and I've talked to a couple people in the comment section, that I would always kind of say my greatest flaw as a commenter, as somebody who makes content about video games, is rooted in the idea that I see the potential in things, and I weigh that potential heavier than the reality that exists. And I try to make sure I'm always upfront about that, that biasness, that it could be considered a good trait at some times, but in this case, obviously, stating, I told you so, course Google, graveyard, things like that. Like, all of that I think is fair and warranted, and you can point that in my direction if you so choose. So, let's talk about why I'm frustrated behind this aspect. Today's news frustrates me because I enjoy Stadia. I've stated that. I use it. Being able to play my games on any screen and not have to pay for extra consoles, and the fact that they run great. I know I'm in a position of privilege because I don't have internet data caps. I also use GeForce Now. I also use Shadow PC. I also have tested out Luma, and I'm still waiting to get in on that list. But one of the things that we've seen, and we're also seeing over on Amazon, is a struggling of developing IP. Build or buy is a common phrase within development, and that's where I think my infatuation with Stadia and cloud gaming as a programmer, like, I really get attracted to that technology, the stack, the potential. Again, potential being the key word here. Heavily weighted. It's something that it immediately resonates to be able to play. And I've done that multiple times, and we've got the bandwidth here and no data cap, so that cloud gaming has never been a core issue. However, there is still the reality, and it could forever be a reality. This is my visionary mind sometimes at work at play, where it comes down to a core-rooted idea that exclusives are a way that games used to be done. The exclusive mindset that you buy a console to play a specific game is a future that I hope, and it could be a far off future, that doesn't necessarily need to exist. And I get so much pushback on that idea, typically from the mindset that the question people say, why would I own a PlayStation? Or why would I own an Xbox? Or why would I own a Nintendo if I could just play these games anywhere? And it's scary. It's scary to think that, like, the thing that makes your system and your games unique is the physical medium in which that they're played. And my hope is that could be a future that we look back at and say, that was how games evolved, but eventually you got to the point where you could just play whatever game you want with whoever and whomever you want and enjoy the game, where the game is the centerpiece, where gamer first is the centerpiece, not platform first. And you've probably heard, if you've been here at any point in time, you probably heard me talk about that. Why I find this news today particularly frustrating is because there isn't the opportunity for them to show off a showpiece. They could have come out with a game and maybe it wouldn't be great. maybe that's what was happening. Maybe there's all kinds of problems with that. We're also hearing about that with New World. I have yet to cover that, but we'll wait to see what happens over the next couple weeks. So, yeah. Anyway, focusing in on the Stadia thing, though, I was always kind of curious to see what they could do. Could they do a 1,000-person battle royale? The question was, is that even fun? We don't know. We haven't been able to experience that because the technology stack couldn't keep up with it. But Stadia itself had bigger implications and still does outside of just gaming, outside of that aspect, that it could really expand and grow to a lot of different ways. And them taking a shift and focus onto third party isn't a bad idea. Kids are just playing dinosaurs in the background. It's cracking me up. It's actually helping improve my mood slightly, just listening to them. The core aspect, the third party, isn't the saving grace, because this only then just kind of feeds that idea that it could all go away. And that's what people were saying at the beginning, and now even louder. And even I find myself tempted to join that chorus. And thus I have to come to this just final and very hopefully directed thought. Will I continue to still play on Stadia? Yes, but now on eggshells. Will I recommend Stadia to other people? Well, as a free service, I think it's fine to try to see if it works for them. But now there is that idea that if they're not actively investing in it, why should you? And the answer is you shouldn't, which only then compounds the entire situation so that more and more people either step away from the platform or decide to hold off from trying it out altogether. So the only way that this gets reversed, and what I find completely frustrating and completely disrespectful about this announcement, is that it just comes in the form of paper. This is Google. They've got YouTube. This could have been something that they had that conversation with us, a little bit more personal, but it wasn't. It was just a freaking post on this on their blog, and then covered by obviously the articles. Developers are out of work or being repurposed until they can find another job, and that sucks. It sucks, and I'm not unfortunately surprised, because this is Google. But the potential, I feel, I guess at the end of it, I mourn the loss of potential that the platform represented. So I've got games on there. They're going to keep giving me free games. I'm going to keep checking it out so that you don't have to. And as long as the game supports cross-play, cross-save, I think that's going to be its saving grace. If this is going to be anything that grows into something bigger, when you start looking at what Microsoft is willing to throw down and throw around, I would say that this could be something married by an announcement we haven't heard yet from Microsoft, where Microsoft is acquiring another major studio or major studios, where Game Pass becomes kind of the service of choice, the Netflix of games. And if that is in and of itself ends up being true, it seems like, do you go with the flow, or do you step back? When you look at what Stadia could do, what xCloud currently can't, and we're still waiting on that development, at the end of the day, it'll be interesting to see if we see some, kind of just more partnership going on behind the scenes. If Stadia gets, Game Pass, for example, I think that's a win. That becomes a service that is additive, that has that ability. Microsoft wins in that case. All this being theoretical, of course, but if this was essentially where Google was looking at, hey, we're going to try to acquire these other companies, Microsoft said, and they did themselves, and then Google unfortunately finds themselves having to make more and more deals with essentially who they were trying to compete with. It should be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. So in the end of the day, I'll let you guys know as this develops, my evolving thoughts on the platform. Yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. Thanks for tuning in, and I appreciate you for listening. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you sticking with Stadia? Are you out? Were you always out and you're just kind of like, yep, this is the writing was on the wall from day one? Let me know. Any and all are welcome. I'd love to hear your thoughts. For Ginger Prime, my name's Brian. Thanks for watching this weird ass video. Hope to see you in my next one, and hopefully that will be a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun, and we'll have a little bit more to discuss. But well, I'll leave it at that. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.